And, if you ever need, to see something again, this is a great way to access that. Some of the videos that I make for this class, I decide not to narrate while I'm doing it. It just is actually, frankly, a little easier for me. And then I narrate it on the video. So that's a good way for me to do that. So I'm so happy to see you all. And so we're going to do part 2 of this, which, really just means more and more focused. And, also what I like to do at this stage is to help you now sort of focus a little bit on some of the things that we don't like to get into too much in an earlier class, because it, I want that early class to be one in which you're free to feel experimental and just try things out and see how it works and not worry too much about the results. And in this one, we'll just take it a little bit more, where I will try to help you focus a bit more on some of the things that we already know how to do to start making your prints maybe reflect thoughts or feelings, or that allow you to have a little bit more control. So we've kind of been random about the color, and most of you started with just a very limited palette. And so for this class, as you saw, it's not a necessity, but if you wanted to purchase a couple more colors, that might be fun. It might be really a nice way to branch out and see what else is possible. It is really possible to work with just those 3 colors and you get a really wide range, but I know that it's also really nice to have, colors like red oxide that I had mentioned that's really opaque. And I mean, some of the actual colors, I just have the nature of them, the nature of the pigment is that they're more opaque or less or whatever. And it's, that's the kind of thing that's just, really special to have already in the tube and ready to go. So that's my thought. And I did send, I think, a little bit of a syllabus of, maybe I didn't, I don't remember, but at any rate, what I wanted to do is to kind of pick up where we left off with our class, which was just talking a little bit more about how to bring content into our work. And that is such an interesting thing to think about. And it also is a little bit of a different focus, in my classes, which tend to be pretty non-representational. It's the way that I like to work. And I also feel that it gives students more freedom. But I do totally understand that, the introduction of a representational image can really make you kind of sit up and take notice, and also help you to control or craft a message or a thought or feeling that, may not be.
Everything is frozen.
Oops.
Two of us are fine.
Some people are frozen. Oh, there you go.
Okay.
You are frozen.
Looks good.
My internet connection is unstable. Oh my God. Wow. I don't know what that means, but well.
I know. I just got that message too. So
Okay,
I wonder.
Maybe. All right. Hi, Sarah. Yay. Nice to see you.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
That's okay. And Sarah, and actually at this point, I was just going to just saying that we're going to just go a little bit deeper, a little bit more intensely in some of the things that we pretty much have already experimented with, color and composition and content, which is, I think, something that we didn't really get into before. Gosh, I'm just thinking maybe we should just do a short introduction. Could everybody just go around and just, it's fun to hear where you all are and a little bit about where you are with your work right now and what you're looking to do. So let's just do that real quick before we get into the heart of our talk, since we're not going to really be looking at Padlet so much, because we're just kind of back in the saddle again, so to speak. Sarah, I'm going to start with you. Introduce yourself, if you would, and where you are in physical reality. And
Sure. My physical reality is in Lexington, Massachusetts, and I'm not sure where my mental reality is now, but that's where my physical reality is.
I know, right?
And I, have just gotten into the pandemic allowed me to get back into art making in a regular way a lot, which has been great. And so I'm doing painting, printmaking, collage, and yeah, working with many of you guys has been very inspiring.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm looking at really getting lots of layers. So what I've always loved about printmaking is sort of that layered, infinite possibility, like, you know, those happy accidents that happen. You're like, oh, wow, I did that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Great, Sarah. Nice to have you again. And you probably do know some of these, it's, you know, there are going to be connections across the board here.
Yeah, I recognize some faces.
Sure. Kate Casa. Yeah. You're muted.
Sorry about that. So yeah, I'm probably a new face to you, Sarah, but I live just over the line in Arlington Heights, so we're probably almost neighbors, maybe. And you know, I'm a newbie. I'm probably the, you know, I have my class with Adria that I just finished for the Jelly Prints was probably might be the first art class I've taken since high school. And in high school, I just phoned it in to get out of as art as much as I could. Crazy now in hindsight, but that was that. So it was so much fun. And so I'm on probably a little different journey than you all are. I think one thing I'm trying to figure out now is, okay, what is good design and how do I get that? And I have an awful lot of need to learn to stop. Like, when is it there? When do I stop? And I like this, but I know it's not enough. What do I add? So, you know, that's sort of what I'm playing with these days.
That's great, Kate. Thank you so much. Let's see, Tammy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tammy. I'm in Waltham, so I'm close to the Northeast contingency. I have been a painter. I had a studio in Greenpoint, Brooklyn for about 5 years, where I painted landscapes on the backs of mousetraps, and I hung them with found objects and chains. And I had the studio had lots of empty wall space, so I filled it up with these lovely sculptures of hangings that I had. But now I'm back in the house where I grew up. And I don't have as much room, but I am still excited to fill this house with a lot of new artwork. And I had never tried jelly paint printing until I took Adria's class, and I love it. Fell in love, and for those of you who were in the last class, I want you to know that I changed my setup. So I was working like on my kitchen table at table height. And then I just put like bed risers on the table, and it's completely changed. So I love it. I feel it's much more ergonomic. So
yeah, that's a great suggestion, by the way, Tammy. So if anybody wants to do this, I've got them too, and I learned about it from a student. But there are these plastic risers that you can get at Home Depot. You can just order them. They're not that expensive, and you put them underneath your the legs of your table, and they're lifted so that you don't have to bend over to work so much.
Oh,
You can stand and have it be, kind of a much more reasonable size.
That's a great idea.
I really recommend those.
idea.
It is life-changing.
Tammy, did we meet? Were you at the art walk in Lexington?
You know, I thought you looked familiar. Yes. I had my stuff.
Nice.
I had my mousetraps up in Verizon. I think did we talk?
Yes, we talked. We were the younger people there.
Okay.
You and me and one other woman. Yes.
Right.
Yes, and I've been meaning to get in touch with you. So this is so
So
lovely.
now you have each other's emails. Let's see.
At some point, I'd love to see your mousetraps if you.
Yeah,
could
that's
send us a
cool.
picture or something.
We can share, all kinds of things through whatever. Let's see, Maddie and Ellen, do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Okay, so hi, we're currently in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Wow.
Been here for a month and I have 2 weeks to go. And Ellen came down to visit. Art-wise, but I live in Woodstock, or outside of Woodstock, New York.
Oh, nice.
I haven't, it's been so beautiful that I haven't done any artwork. And the last thing I was into was assemblage and found objects and rusty old pieces and stuff and making sculptures out of that. So
Great.
anyway, but I've done collage and mixed media and jelly and
Yeah,
so.
super. And Maddie and I worked together on a class I was teaching on big scale
Yeah,
painting.
that was great.
And Ellen?
So hi, everybody. It's really good to see everybody.
Yeah.
again. I am really focused on composition. And Kate, you were saying, design. I mean, I've been doing this for years. I'm still asking what is good design and how do I create? It's like sometimes I can create something, but to me, it seems so interesting, like it boring. So I just rip it up. And anyway, I'm still working on creating something that I like.
Yeah.
That's great. And I mean, to hear you guys say this is helpful to me. So we can really get into composition. We really focus on it, and I'm happy to do that. This is very good information.
Super. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Maddie. I mean, thanks, Ellen, too, and Maddie. Mary, hi. You and
Gotta unmute yourself, Mary.
There we go. So I've been having fun down here in Florida. We're at Pelican Cove. There are all kinds of art shows and photography and jelly plate. And then I started doing these huge canvases. Like I've always wanted to experiment with 6 foot by 8 foot, 6 feet by 6 feet canvases. And I haven't had the nerve. So I found someone to paint with me, and we use his covered carport. And so we've been painting outside, and the weather here is great, And then just this week I decided I wanted to do something on my own. And so I did a big painting using, oh my God, can't believe I'm drawing a blank. Just because I have to say, that stuff that hangs from the trees. Everybody.
Spanish moss.
Spanish moss,
yeah.
I use Spanish moss to
Oh,
paint
very
with.
cool.
Oh
Okay.
my God,
Oh,
cool.
wow.
That'll be good to print with, actually, too. That'll make a really beautiful stencil.
Well, it leaves a lot of guck on the plate.
Yeah, well, that's true too. But
Right.
still, it could come off on the.
Yeah. It works really well when you have a press.
Yes.
But with jelly and touch and go. But anyway, and just to give you an idea of, let's see if I can show it. So this was one of, whoops. Oh no, okay. Oh no, wait a minute, here it is. Wait, here we go.
Oh yeah, very interesting. Okay.
What size is it?
It's small, it's the regular 8.5 by 11, 8 by
That's a
10.
jelly. Okay,
Oh.
great. Yeah, it looks great. Very excellent.
Images of, but not transfers, just, images. So anyway,
Okay,
so
good. All right, thank you. Yeah, we want to get around to everybody. Let's see, Mary Ellen.
Mary Ellen Feeney, and I am originally from Brighton, but I'm living on the Cape in Yarmouth now. And I've taken numerous classes with Adrienne,
You see what
and the last one being the 10-week one that she did, that we all did. And I produced, I think, some interesting work on that
Yes, you
one, and I was
did.
happy with a
Yes,
lot
you
of it.
did.
And I was comparing over the week things in my Padlet from the last class that I took.
Yeah.
Very, as compared to this class, and the difference is marked. And so I was happy with that, and I hope to continue. And I bought a 12 by 12 plate this morning.
Oh, I'm so pleased.
Ooh,
That is
wow.
awesome. That is awesome.
Nice.
Great, Mary Ellen.
So
nice to
that's
have you
me.
again. Yes, and Katie, not last but not least.
Yes. Yes, and I have also taken a lot of classes with Adria during the pandemic. And it's been I've loved it because there's variety in it, but it all is kind of the same ballpark of painting from what I like to call painting from the inside out. And I have so much fun with it. And it's like each class is different, learning different springboards into this process of painting abstractly, you know, and what that means to me. And I love the jelly plate. I love working with it. I've always loved crafty things, and like there's something about the jelly plate that I really like a lot. And I find that as I'm going along and I'm getting deep, I love just cranking stuff out and learning different things. But now I'm at the point where, you know, like Sarah, the idea of layers, like, but how do I build them correctly so it doesn't just look like a mishmash of stuff, you know?
Mhm.
And there's an expression there of something that is coming from me, you know? And I love this process. It's fun. It's so much more exciting than painting representationally, which I've done, you know, in my painting history. But I see, you know, with this class and getting a little bit deeper with this, the idea of to get in, you know, composition and how to compose those layers
Great.
with some intention and how to keep it more simple. I can start layering and it's just too much, and it just all of a sudden I end up with something that's just a thing of mush. Having some intention that I'm starting out with and letting that process evolve.
Yeah.
I feel it happening.
Yeah. Well, it is a journey.
Fine tune it a little bit more.
Sure, it's a journey, and that's great. Thank you so much, Katie, for your testimonial. I didn't pay her to do
Check
this.
the mail, right?
Yeah. Thank you. So no, it's great to hear where everybody is and what you're hoping to get out, and we'll definitely get into composition and layering and all that stuff. Okay, so what I want to do today is introduce to you, you know, a way of working. As I said, where we're introducing, in particular, we're introducing a concrete image into, you know, into a background, and allowing that to suggest content or bringing content to the work. So, as I had begun to say earlier, because I'm an abstract artist, I tend to feel comfortable working that way. And you know, my classes end up being, you know, pretty non-representational, but that doesn't mean at all that jelly plate printing can't be include representational. And in fact, that's one of the things that we could have fun with later on this time is actually doing some work with brushes right on the jelly plate. So, you know, maybe so anyway, the issue with bringing representational in is, you know, where people are in a class in terms of their drawing skills, you know. So, but I'm going to show you a way to do that where you don't need to rely on drawing skills to get that representation in. And in fact, you know, as I began to suggest last time for the end of our class, that going to the web and printing out images that you find or finding things in magazines or wherever can really be a rich source and a pretty easy, you know, grab to something that can, you know, maybe very, very compelling to you to work with. So what I want to start this conversation out is a video that I made last night, which is going to take you through the process of, you know, finding a stencil and cutting it out, and then what you might want to do with it. Okay, so let me just take everybody to that. And this is one that I'm going to narrate. So here we are, creating content with silhouettes. So, you know, again, virtue to, you know, having Google Images, it's very possible to find all kinds of things out there that could be really interesting to you. So here is our jelly plate, as I mentioned, or no, excuse me. This is the, this is a way, what I'm going to show you here is cutting out an image that you might have printed out on a piece of paper. And this is the back of a pad of writing paper so that I have something like a piece of cardboard underneath me while I'm cutting. And, you know, as you see, I chose a kind of loaded top image here, thinking of the war and knowing that that's, you know, top of mind for so many of us. You know, it's just kind of there, like the elephant in the room, or not so much. And I thought, all right, let me take an image that's kind of loaded. I mean, this is just an airplane. It isn't necessarily, you know, anything that's necessarily a warplane, but I'm going to use it, you know, as a stand-in for some of the things that we see going on in the news, right? So I printed it out at a size that I thought was going to be okay for the jelly plate. And then, you know, all of this is a little bit random. You know, you're not going to know what the right size is. You can guesstimate. You may find after printing it out once that it's too big or too small. But at any rate, again, if you know, have the ability to just you know, print something out at some sort of size, or even go to a newspaper, or, you know, as I said, any kind of source that has an image that looks interesting to you, that this is the first step, is cutting it out. If you're not used to using an X-Acto blade, they're really great. They're better than scissors because you're going to get a much more accurate outer edge. And plus, they allow you to have both the negative and the positive of the same image. So I'm going to have the plane, but I'm also going to have the negative space of the plane, and I could use both of those. So, you know, this is a way to sort of start a collection of images that you might just keep on hand. And, you know, once they get coated with a little bit of acrylic paint, which plasticizes them basically, you know, you can use them over and over again. So that's yeah. So anyway, I'm taking my time here, but I just wanted to show you that's the first step. So blah, 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 let's fast forward through here. And now we have, all right. So now, what am I going to do with it? Okay. What I thought I'm going to show you here is, you know, my thought is, well, this plane should be on some sort of an image that conveys, you know, I thought first, should it be just black and white? But I'm thinking, no, I think I want to bring color. But if I bring color, what colors do I want to use that could kind of express this, you know, kind of difficult time we're in? So I thought, all right, what about, you know, images of flame? And I thought, how about, you know, yellow and red, and maybe not use them so obviously, but to use them in a way that will convey this feeling of burning without maybe, you know, having to depict flames. So here I'm going to show you the way that you can get a sort of mixed blending of color that we didn't really talk about last time, but it's really fun. And I'm just showing you with two colors here. So
is this open acrylic?
Yeah, I'm only using open acrylic, and that I absolutely recommend that you use, because it's going to give you your best results. But oops, go away. Sorry. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to blend these colors just going in one direction. And so you could get kind of a rainbow effect where, you know, these colors are going to kind of blend right across. And it, you know, the more careful you are about mixing them, the more, you know, the more like sort of smoothly the colors will be mixed. So, and as I was doing this, I'm thinking, well, you know, if I'm trying to evoke flame, I'm not going to be all that careful about making a perfectly blended, you know, that doesn't seem right for the content that I'm trying to do. So I'm going to be a little ragged about it, but the colors are going to blend. And as you can see, this is a way that you can use, you know, many, many different ways on your paintings, whether they're, you know, depicting a war scene or a, you know, a lovely, you know, day out in the park. So I'm going to print that first, because I'm going to wait for my plane. This is just the way I'm thinking about it as I was doing it last night. And let's see what this looks like. I just put two pieces of paper down on my jelly, because I felt that I probably don't have enough on with the colors on there to do more than two pretty good images of this sort of, you know, you can see how cool it is. You can make a really nice blended two color background. And then again, to do it on the, for my
what kind of you're using?
It's just regular white drawing paper. And again, I really recommend that. You can go to something better if you'd like. And I think I mentioned that in class too. The BFK or other kinds of paper that's 100% rag are lovely to work with. But, you know, if you feel like it's going to get in your way and you're going to be too nervous about messing them up and not, you know, don't use it. You know, the last thing you want to do is to get in your way by putting something, you know, expensive that makes you feel nervous about using it. You don't want to feel that way. White drawing paper is totally fine. Okay, so as you can see, I got some really mixed, you know, different kinds of results, but that's good because as I said before, I don't want anything too peaceful looking. I want, you know, kind of a rough, you know, sort of explosive look in the background. Now, for my last color, I decided to use black because I thought, okay, that's going to give me contrast. And we read the color black as, you know, something that's going to be very in your face. And that's kind of the feeling that I wanted. So what am I going to do with that? All right, let me just put some down, take my roller. And what I'm talking about here is how you might think through in a different way, instead of just kind of la la la, you know, taking whatever. If you have a sort of impetus in your head, like you want, you know, you're kind of directive about what you're looking for, you can really have that front and forward, and it can really dictate how you want to put your colors down. Notice that I stopped here. I stopped with this kind of patchy roll up of black, where areas are very thick and areas are less thick, and they're not covered all over the place. Again, why? Because if I'm trying to speak about, you know, the unspeakable here, the feeling of war and in difficult times, I don't need it to be flat. I want to show the red behind it. So my desire, you know, for the black will really be different than I might normally be using. Okay, so now I'm going to then add my stencil. And I decided just to use the stencil of the plane and not the negative space, although that would also be interesting. But I just, you know, for our purposes, you know, on this thing, now I'm going to just use the single plane, and I'm putting it off center. Why? Because when you put things off center compositionally, it creates a feeling of unease. You know, this is the way that you can really think more about composition rather than just the rules of composition, but how to use composition to convey meaning, which I think, frankly, is really how you should think about composition. You know, off center gives you a feeling of unease. Off center takes the eye, you know, off, you know, from feeling things are symmetrical. Off center, you know, and something that's also on a diagonal gives you that feeling of movement and, you know, that's intention. So if you want something to feel very peaceful and relaxed and calm, you want to go, you know, horizontal, and you want to go maybe symmetrical, or you want to think about, you know, putting something in the middle. Like, it's not bad to put something in the middle. It's just depends on what you're trying to say, you know, and whether that makes sense to put it in the middle, right? Because we can all think of really amazingly beautiful and compelling artworks that are front and center, smack in the middle, bullseye, you know, no question, something is in the middle, like, you know, a beautiful landscape scene that is pretty much, you know, dead set in the middle with the swan in the middle, who knows? But, you know, there are reasons why you may want to break the rule of not putting something in the middle. Okay, so let's go see what happens when we then print this. All right, so I am printing on my Ghost, just for the heck of it, printing the first print of the black on the Ghost. And I'm also not pushing so hard on this very first one. Why? Because I wanted a blotchy look. And as you can see, I have a kind of fuzzy look on my plane, which I kind of like. on the next one, I'm going to keep that down where it is. I'm now going to press really hard on that, on this one, and get the ghost to be, you know, pretty powerful, because I still have a lot of paint left. And I'm going to press harder around the stencil so that my edges will be cleaner and sharper. Yeah. So you can see that really, you know, is pretty effective. I was actually pretty pleased with the way that these things look. Like, it does convey that feeling of, this is not a nice little airplane flying through the sky. Something else is happening here. I don't know what, but, you know, it has a feeling of, you know, something bad. And that's what I wanted to convey, right? So I'm going to take you a little bit further here. I ended up printing more. I ended up printing some, gee, I don't know if this is on here or not. I can't remember if I just wanted to show everybody what this looked like. So do you see how that actually adds to the feeling of anxiety in this print? The fact that there isn't, you know, really clean, crisp edges. So you can play with how much you press on your image to really control what you're getting. And now that you know that fuzziness might be something you don't want, or fuzzy might be something you do want. Oh, I know what I'm doing here. I'm actually doing a transfer, because there was so much paint on this first one that I printed. I thought, let me just make a second print directly from that, because there is a lot of paint and it's something else that you can play with. If you find that you have too much paint, you can just do a print directly from a print. Yep. That's an offset. That's called an offset print. And it gives you, you know, the way that you could actually begin another piece. I could begin, or I could keep that one and do some painting on it. You know, there's a lot of things I could continue to do with it now that I have it. And I think, I don't know, I have a little bit of time. I think I made another print directly from the actual plate as a final piece here, just to show you what that is going to look like. Maybe not. Let me see if I do. Yes, I do. Okay. And just take that a little bit further. And because that's also something you want to really think about. If you have anything that is still on your plate that looks like it might be an interesting thing, go ahead and print it, even if it's not part of your, you know, round table of 3 or 4 that you're doing, because that could be the start of another series. It could be something that you know, do want to use in another way. So as you can see, that's pretty cool too. And I think it has as much emotional impact as any of the others that I did. So there you go. Yeah, so I'm curious if you have questions, or, you know, how that, Maddie.
What about spraying with a little bit of water?
Spraying with water, you could try. Be careful, because but yeah, if it's just a little bit, you could get the paint to do interesting things. Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions or comments about Tammy?
I was going to say that, especially when you're looking for that ghostly effect, you can also move that airplane.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, because there's paint trapped under there and
exactly.
whatever. So like that could be.
Sure. And you all know now many different ways that you could proceed. Yeah, you could lift the airplane and print that. You could put that negative that I had cut out on it someplace else and use that. You know, you could get littler ones. Yeah. You know, there's many, exactly. It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. But, you know, the 8x10s are small. It is a small space. And so I know at the beginning, we're very, you know, we fall in love with the ability of this thing to make so many wonderful shapes and textures. But you also might want to think about the scale. There is something to be said for less is more, the famous expression by I think it's Mies van der Rohe, the architect of less is more, sort of a minimalist ethos. But you know, that's something to think about as we move forward with thinking about composition and thinking about scale and thinking about what it is that we want to convey with our work, right? What else? What other questions? Katie?
So I have another question, but so when you were talking about less is more just now and talking about scale, are you talking about like the scale of the airplane in terms of the, you're not
Yes,
talking about the scale of the, whether it's 8.5 by 12 by 12 or whatever,
the scale of everything,
of everything
of
that's in,
everything.
of,
Yes, it is open to discussion. Absolutely.
Yep.
And that's something true also about composition, you know, that we think about, like how big. So 8 by 10 is, you know, it's just not that big. And you know, well, let me just take one of these prints out here to show you. There's a lot on here. You know, there's really a lot of information, you know, on this print. I think it's done. I personally wouldn't add anything to it at this point. It's got my strong focal point, the
Yeah.
plane, balanced with, you know, this very, you know, deep red and black kind of stuff over here. So it feels like it's balanced. It's off center. There's a feeling of, like I said, the diagonal gives you that off-centered, you know, tension or movement. So, and the texture that I have from, it looks like smoke clouds, you know, it feels complete. Is that the right scale? It's not bad. I feel like it's pretty good. You know, it would be different if it was a really small plane. Maybe that would be better, maybe it wouldn't be. But I think a big plane, like this was the first one that I printed out, you know, that's way too big. That would be, you know, obviously that's going to take all of it. That's not what I want. And I was like, whoops, no, I go back to the, you know, this is a better scale. So, you know, this is something to think about. Like, you know, do you want it off? Do you want another one up here coming off? But all of those things are a big thing to consider when you're starting to get back into your work. Right, exactly.
my question that I had originally been wanting to ask about is the idea of how hard you press. And I watch you very carefully when you first started doing
Yeah.
some of this in one of the, you know, you just did a piece of it in a section of a class.
Right.
I watched how you press.
Yeah.
And you have kind of a consistent way that you press over the top. And I've actually come to watch it very carefully.
Huh.
And I find that I get like, sometimes I'll press really, really hard, especially if I want the edges to show, or try and press even. Like, it's really interesting me because I think it's part of, is what you're saying, is part of this art process with this jelly plate of how hard you press. And getting to know the different effects that you can get from it.
Exactly.
And you don't always have to press all around the edges unless you want. And so it's really kind of, I'm kind of interested in that now, and how like all of the different effects that you got from all of those different layers. And
Exactly. Yes.
there was only one time that we actually talked about how hard you were pressing, and we were able to see the difference, you know.
That's right. That's right. And it's a real tactile thing, right? And now you all are aware of, you know, that sensitivity in your fingertips. You can feel underneath what you're touching, and, you know, where you really want to be pressing hard if you want that clean edge. And also, you know, you can control it. You really can. So all of those things are in the mix.
So I was going to say that I actually have 2 brayers.
Yes.
And I have a brayer that I use for paint, and then one that I always keep clean.
Yes.
Right. So there are sometimes when I want a perfectly uniform thing, but yeah.
That's right.
I think you're right. It's totally an art, right?
Yes, yes. So the brayer the difference about the brayer is that you can't feel it, but you know, there are many times you just want a nice overall print, be done with it. Brayers are awesome. If you have 2 brayers, it's very nice to have 2 brayers. And if you feel like you want to invest in that, it's always nice to have more. But anyway, yeah. Great. So that was a little introduction to how you might start thinking about adding content into your work. And, you know, it is something that we, that's a wonderful kind of new thought. So what I would love to have us do today is to play with this in class and see where you go. And it does not have to be a dark image like I chose. I mean, it can be anything that you're, buildings. Actually, let me just show you just really quickly. A woman, Tatiana Fils, who happens to be Ukrainian. She's lives in this country. She's a lovely woman who took my classes last year. And I want to take you to her website because what she did in the jelly class was she did buildings, and she did this pretty much this exact kind of process using wait a minute. And her name is Tatiana Flis. That will be helpful. There we go. Yeah, these are jelly plates prints. So and this, look at this. So she's using the sort of what I want to say, the image of buildings in her work quite a bit. And let's just see if we can see these. Yes. So these are jelly plates on canvas that she's done. So less is more. These are big though. These are quite big, but I just thought this is somebody who's taken this idea, of using the template of a building, for example, or this theme of, building architecture somehow, and, taken that into a theme quite beautifully, I think. So anyway, so there you go. But yes, for our class today, let's see what happens. Sound good? Sound like a good, yeah?
Can I just ask a quick question?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
how did she do that? So how did she get, because it's funny, because I've been wanting to kind of play with housing and buildings or something. So how did she get that base?
Yeah, so that is, we were talking about last week, Kate, the matrix. She made a matrix.
Yeah.
Remember the word matrix, which is, it's a plate that you got, it's pretty permanent because you've glued stuff onto like a piece of cardboard or foam cardboard or whatever. And it's just there. And so she's using it over and over again. She made a matrix with little windows cut out. Those are the light things. And she's using that. And then on top of it, she's using another mask that gives you the big black area. So it's not just, sorry, that wasn't exactly, but I just thought I wanted to show you her work.
No, I loved it. No, I love seeing it. Thank you. No, it's great.
All right, so questions about this? Anybody feeling daunted? Could be a tree, could be a leaf, could be, pair of scissors, could be something very mundane, could be figures. But you can't help it. We have a recognizable object. It starts to create content.
Okay.
Maddie.
Backtrack to the
Sure.
So it's up to us to find that, whether it's an image on Google or a.
Yes. Wait a minute. Hold on, because I think Maddie was just asking a question. Hang on, Katie.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you about the matrix that
The
I'm not
matrix.
familiar with.
All right. Let me talk to you that on that'll come up again.
Okay.
And actually, I can send you the video of the last class or the class that we talked about in it, and then you can watch me do that separately. Maddie, does that make sense? But we'll be coming around to it. But for this one, you don't need the matrix. You simply need to work with a stencil. So you're going to work with some kind of a recognizable object, but the background can be whatever. But try to think about it, kind of have some intention, and let the intention dictate to you what colors you might choose to use, how many colors, what kinds of different things you can bring to the print that might be a little bit more intentional instead of just random. Make sense? Okay, so let's come back in about, let's see, Sarah has to leave at 12:15. Okay, well, we'll come back maybe at 12:30 to see where we are. And sorry, Sarah, but you can catch up on video.
Yeah.
The recording, yeah.
I have a
Alright.
question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Tatiana's getting like very sharp lines. Is she doing jelly plate printing?
Well, yeah, she did get very sharp lines on her jellies. I believe she was, but those are paintings. I'm not sure exactly what she may be using there. She might be using masking tape on that, Mary. But the sharp edges, again, just come from the pressure, you know, really pressing hard right along the edge of your stencil shape. Mhm.
Right. More like silk screens almost.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's go work. And you guys, Maddie and Ellen, I know you don't have your supplies necessarily, but I don't know. Maybe it might be fun to find some images to play with, you know, even that, and just cut that stuff out of it. I can't start to have a collection of them that you can kind of go to when you're back to ready to work. Okay, so I will check in with everybody at around 12:30, which gives us about a little more than half an hour to get some stuff down, and we'll see what we make.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to be here. Just feel free to, you know, reach out if you have any questions or problems, issues with technical stuff or otherwise. Let me know.
If you want to create a matrix, can you do that like with jelly plate? Do you just use a separate jelly plate and keep it? No, that wouldn't
No,
be the
I would
matrix.
just make it on a separate piece of cardboard. You know, all you need is some kind of stiff background, and then just, you know, glue something that's a little bit of a relief to it. If it's you know, more cardboard, that's totally fine. That'll work. Something a little bit thicker, like foam core board, is also really good. But just glue it on with,
So
you know, your
holograph in that.
yeah, yep.
So I found out something very interesting. Do you know Nancy Cusack?
No.
Okay. Well, she's a printmaker and a drawing teacher, and but she started doing jelly plates and fell in love with them. But what she does when she's creating a holograph, you know, gluing things,
Yeah.
she covers the whole thing with the freezer weight aluminum foil.
Oh yeah.
And that makes the holograph like very sturdy.
Yeah.
And reusable.
Great.
And so I'd never heard of that.
Yeah, there's all kinds of little tips and tricks of the trade. It's great to talk to people and find out how they do it. You know, it becomes like cooking after a while. Everybody sort of invents their own special secret sauce, you know, and that's part of the job of an artist, is to figure out how you are going to get the effect that you personally really want in your work. And it may be some unconventional, weird ingredient or process that nobody else is using, you know, but it works for you.
And also, do you remember when Sarah told us about using milk cartons?
Yeah.
The milk carton doesn't work so well, but the almond milk and the rice milk, like the artificial milks that have inside, they work really well.
Oh, that's great. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So you're saying that you are taking a pencil and drawing into that the surface of a piece of like waxed cardboard.
Like a Phillips screwdriver. Like you have to take something really where you could really incise it. But yeah.
Yeah, meat trays are also a good one. Yeah, there's lots of things people can carve into.
Okay.
Maddie, you're curious what that is again? You guys are, yeah, you can unmute.
So wait, so it's like the plastic, what is it? Not plastic.
The styrofoam.
Waxy.
The waxy surface of the milk containers that you get.
Off.
Yeah, you can, you know, she's saying drag something really sharp in there, and you can, you know, do some nice carving, exactly, and get really nice resist painting. What would you say?
The artificial containers, the plasticky ones didn't work well. Has to be the aluminum inside. Well, what looks like aluminum.
Oh, okay, I see. That's different. I'm sorry. Yeah. So that's different. So, you know,
almond milk. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the soup containers.
Soup containers, but you can make your own too. But it's a great thing if you want to reuse.
Soup cartons, actually.
Yeah. So that's a good way. But styrofoam meat trays are great too. And then what you're doing is inking those up, you can press those right down onto the jelly and leave an impression and then print that. Or you can print that directly onto a piece of paper and add that as like a stamp part printing of your work. You know, there's so many mixing and matching of the different processes here that really, it's endless. That's why people really love printmaking. It's just so, it has so many variations. And by the way, if you go to the jelly plate, it's called jellyarts.com, their website, they're constantly putting up new techniques. They have little videos, I think almost weekly, which of course is part of their way of selling more jelly products. And their emphasis is on craft. You know, they're not going to be talking to you about content, but it's always good to, you know, there may be something that someone shows that's really cool and you want to try it out. That seems like it would be a good, you know, use for you. That's always available. So yeah, their site is, you know, jellyarts.com for a variety of ways of working. But yeah, let's see what we do with this stencil idea. Going to the real and the photographic to give us, you know, very specific kinds of silhouettes that can be used in our own work.
So Adria, do you think that if you sent the matrix tape now?
Yeah, I can do that
we could
now.
look at it? Yeah, that
Sure,
would be
sure.
great.
Yep. I'll do that now. Yeah, that's a good idea. I was just thinking that's a good thing for you guys to watch. All right, so let me just do that.
Adria, will you send that to me too? Because I never really got the matrix properly.
Okay, all right.
I've been
So-
meaning to
me
go back
too.
to it. It
Okay.
would just make it that much easier if it's
All right, it's yeah,
Send it to
it's in this longer, you know, class that we did.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna have to just, you know, fast forward through it.
That's
But
all right.
it's in there. Yeah. So I'll try to find
Are
it.
you going to send it to everybody?
I can send it to everybody. Yeah, sure.
Okay,
It's
thank
one of the classes that we did from last time. Actually, I'm wondering, maybe I even have one that I did. All right, just give me a few minutes and I'll see if I can find one that I've done that's out of the class. I will definitely send that on. And I just don't remember. If I don't, I'll send you the video from the whole class and you guys can find it.
Maddie? Can you hear me? Maddie?
Oh, yeah.
Mary?
She-
Hi.
She's trying to find her audio. There you go.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I want to come to St. Pete's to see that exhibit, so maybe I should do that before you leave.
Oh,
The Dolly, the Picasso.
yeah. Yeah, we don't have that much time left here, but
I
maybe
thought you said 2 weeks. No?
we could see if we could work it out.
Okay,
Okay.
no, no,
yeah.
no, pressure. If it works, it works.
Okay, great.
Okay, let me see if I can find this. Yes, I do. I do have a separate video. Okay, good. I'll send that along. That's going to be much easier for you all. Trying to wade through and find it. I'm sending it as a Google Drive, everybody, because it's too big to send just as an attachment. If you can't access, just let me know. It's usually works, but if you have any trouble, just let me know. And I'll try something different. That's okay.
Thought I was muted.
If anybody's stuck, just, let me know. I'm happy to chat with you, help to kind of clarify. I think that, what I'm looking for here for you all is to, start to have a little bit more of a direction, a sort of an intention in your work. So it's, kind of goes a little bit beyond experimentation and a little bit more, into self-expression.
So Adria, I have a question. I don't know if everybody wants to hear it. I don't know if there's a way to, it's Kate.
Hello. Okay.
I mean, I don't, it's probably not, I don't know. Anyway, I have this print that I made before that I'd kind of like to add the image of a bird to.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you can, can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm trying to figure out, like, how do I get that bird where I want it on that print?
Okay, so first of all, think about, you're probably going to want to use the negative of that image, not the positive, unless you want to do what I do, which is to put down a color. Right? So if you want to have that blue, that of the bird be blue, for example, what you would do is on your jelly, right? Put down blue, then put down the mask so that the image of the bird is blue and everything else is blocked.
I see.
And then you put your background down on it. Yep.
So that put the paint down, put the bird down, then flip the paper over it.
Yep.
And block everything but the bird.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I think I messed up the negative, but I'm going to go see if I have it. Thank you.
Okay. You can also, Kate, you know what? If you messed it up, just take your image that you've already cut out, put it on another sheet of paper, draw around it. Bada boom.
There you go. That's a hot tip.
That's why I get paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
Hi, Adria. I'm gonna run. I
Okay.
emailed you a couple images from today, and then one that I had done last year that I thought might be fun to look at too, that used some stencils sort of in this way.
Great,
All
Sarah.
right,
Thank
see
you
you
so
guys next
much.
week.
See you next time. Okay, and I'll send you the homework.
Oh, great. Thanks.
Bye, Sarah.
Bye.
Okay, just another couple of minutes, about 10 more minutes, and then we will just take a break and see where we are. I mean, this does not have to be finished work. It doesn't have to be, no matter how you're feeling about it, let's take a look, because this is part of that learning process that's so, so critical to moving forward and being able to, use all of the possibilities at your disposal. Video is ready. Okay, everybody, we're gonna start to get ready to chat about these. It would be great if you could put it up on Padlet. And if not, you can always just email me the images. So whatever works. I see a couple coming in already, which is exciting. Okay, be ready to,
Adria, I
Yeah.
can't find my phone. Could somebody call me?
I can call you.
Oh, great, thank you.
Okay. Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Oh, yeah.
I
Okay.
turned it.
There you go.
Oh my God. Okay, got it. Oh, can't believe it. It was hiding under some paper.
Wow, why am I not surprised? It's usually where mine is.
All right, where's the image I wanted? Here we go.
We're about ready to come back together again. Yep. Hi, Maddie. Hi, Ellen. Yeah, so let's take a look at what we've got. So just throw up whatever you have onto Padlet, and we will take a look and try to talk about, what sort of things happened, what you thought about while you were doing this, any questions, problems, successes, and so on. So I'm going to share the screen. And yeah, if you are just putting yours up, go ahead and do that. Meanwhile, we will start to take a look at these and see what happens. So Mary Ellen, let's start with you. You did 3 up here, which is very exciting. And I guess I first want to hear from you about your experience. What was this like, starting to work with an image? What kinds of things did you think about? Did it change how you were approaching this? What were your experiences?
I had chosen this image yesterday
Yep.
From one of my photos.
Yep.
And it's a guy walking away from the water.
Yeah.
And he had gotten drenched by a wave.
Yep.
So that's why I chose the blue.
Great.
There.
Yeah.
And I found it easier to do the negative
Yeah.
than to do the positive. So I'm going to work on the positive over the week.
Sure.
And
Yeah, that's
I
right. I
enjoy
only did show you the using the positive, and that's different. It really is. And it's more likely that you guys will probably have wanted to do the let's call this the positive, I guess. Because yes, you can control the color inside of it more. Yeah, great, Mary Ellen. And let's take the other one. So this idea of the wave crashing over a person is something that you were connecting with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, it was
great.
very funny when it happened. Because he was a bus driver on leading a tour
Oh,
and
no.
he got drenched
Yeah, yeah.
and spent the rest of the day in the wet clothes.
Oh, God.
Yeah, poor guy.
And yet, of course, the viewer doesn't have any of that story. So,
No.
you know, I mean, my feeling was that it's more serious than not, you know, especially since you chose the colored black to, you know, put, you know, the silhouette in. It's every person, you know, it suddenly becomes not somebody, you know, particular, but everybody. And
Right.
so, you know, I kind of think about that when looking at this. So yeah, what do you guys all think? What are your impressions about this? Is pretty interesting too.
I like the variation of the second one of the background.
Uh-huh.
It was, yeah, I thought it.
They were existing prints that I had done previous weeks.
Oh, very good. Yep.
Oh,
Oh,
I love the you using those circles again.
Yeah,
You know,
the fishing twine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And so it
Yeah,
so
I like that
changes.
too.
Yeah. And I was going to say too that Mary Ellen, what happens is when you put the image of the person in here, the scale of how we read these background things changes, right? Because suddenly we see them as really big waves behind the figure. The figure sort of sets for us the scale that we look at the rest of the design elements in here with. Yeah.
And then the black and white one, I think I'm gonna try and add some color to that. In like a glaze or something to see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, could be,
It's
as it
nice.
is, it's the starkness of it and the fact that, you know, we see these like, you know, this image becomes pretty ghostly. You know, you could also read it just like this, I think, you know, pretty complete. But of course, you could see what happens when you're at it.
Mary Ellen, it feels as if he's walking on wet pavement, like on a rainy night.
It's sand he's walking on.
Yeah.
Effective like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very spooky. I really love it.
He's spooky, all right.
Yeah. So that's so interesting that you you know, discover all kinds of things happening, you know, with the addition of these. All right, Kate, let's see what you did here. You did it with the bird. Great. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a great thing, but what I was playing with was trying to actually get the image of the bird on an existing print.
Yeah, good.
And actually, which I just took that bird that I had put on there and took a sponge and blotted the blue so it was much more passive.
Yeah.
And now I hated that. And now I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I might want to go over that a little bit with white to muse it in to the print. I guess I didn't take a very good photo here because of the light, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I was working on. And the other one is a similar kind of thing. And I actually did the same thing with it.
Yeah.
Where I didn't like the color at all. I sort of wish I had done orange in hindsight. But I just was trying to fit it into the curve of the belly of the bird, into the curve of a form or shape that was there.
Yeah.
You know, again, just working with trying to get something where I want it, how I want it.
Exactly. Yep.
And then, but I also did the same thing with that because the paint was much too vibrant. Actually, I took most of the paint off with the sponge, and that's kind of fun. I mean, it becomes a little bit more fun, actually. But you know, again, just trying to predict.
Absolutely. No, it's really a great you know, thing to, you know, just get your hand around, you know, your mind and your hand around how do you do this and should you want to do that.
Yeah.
And you know, there's all you know, the other thing that you could do to try to get it in the place that you want is you could, if you're using the negative with the rest of the paper still on it, you could actually take the original print you're trying to get it on, stick it, you know, down where you want it, tape it, and then print it onto the piece onto your jelly, and that would also work. Yeah, but there's a lot of
that's interesting.
So yeah,
I'm tempted to just show the difference. Can you see this? With the blotting, it's
Let's
It's-
see here.
Oh,
let me see if
I mean,
can-
I'm not saying it works 100%, but it's just like so much better. Can you see it?
Yeah, I'm gonna just pin you there so we can see. Oh, yeah, yep, yep. Oh,
Anyway,
that's right. That's a great, yeah. So
fun to
blotting
see the
and-
difference with the blotting, what that does, you know?
Exactly. Great, Kate, thank you. So yeah, this is a part of it is just trying to, get it working. Tammy, you're next here. Yes, tell us what you, this is fun. Tell us what you ended up with here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I just bought like a whole bunch of new paints, and I was
Okay.
like, let me go crazy, let me do something joyful and silly.
Yeah.
And I had a cut that were like C shapes.
Uh-huh.
So I was playing with the fish, and then this is a print where I did I took off the shapes and then I set them again somewhere else on the paper.
Yep.
And I was surprised at how well the colors held.
Yeah, I'll say.
Mhm.
So let's see, was this? the
And then,
first
yeah,
one
and
you-
then do that one
Yeah.
because that was the first one that I did because I had a
Oh,
really beautiful background,
Yeah,
but the shapes didn't come out really well
yeah,
because I hadn't covered the plate because
yes.
I didn't want to combine the colors too much. So
Exactly.
I think this has like great potential for
Yeah.
the beginning of something else.
Mhm, mhm.
Lovely.
And you
'Cause I
discovered.
love
this
the
is-
background.
Yeah, the background
you
was
just-
a discovery for you too. And do you want to say how you did that? Tell us how you did that.
I opened up like 5 different tubes of paint and I just like dotted it all over the place. And then I went over it like once in one direction with my brayer, and then like maybe the bottom half, I just did it once in another
Great.
direction.
So very gingerly, just kind of going over once or twice. That's it. Yeah, that's right. Because otherwise you just get this mix. But what a really beautiful, fun kind of background to know about how to make. Yeah. Yeah, great. And then you have this last one here where
Yeah.
this is the ghost.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a ghost, but then I was like, well, let me add some blue. So I added a little bit of blue, and then I went over it with the brayer, and then it was over the ghost prints,
Yeah.
I guess. So it's like because I'm like, how can I get that all the cool color effect
Yeah.
and the shapes, and like there's not quite enough paint. Like I want to add more paint to the ghost. So
Right.
yeah.
So just to, touch base a little bit with our discussion about scale, how do you feel about the scale of these shapes in relationship to the size of your jelly?
I feel like they're
That's a loaded
huge.
question. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're I feel like they're kind of monstrous.
Yeah.
And I was little, and I was also like, I feel like I wanted to create something that would be like childlike,
Yeah.
because I'm also writing like a whole bunch of like fairy tales and children's books and stuff as well. So I was kind of like, this is the scale that I would use if the fish were talking to like a starfish. Maybe because I feel like as a composition itself,
Yeah.
it's very strange.
Yeah.
Like there are 2 very giant, like identifiable objects that like, yeah, looking at it now, I would put the corner of the fish so that you couldn't tell it was a fish, maybe, and then use like just a triangle of the starfish in another on another edge.
Yeah, I mean, it's really an interesting discussion to have because this is exactly what we'll talk more about in this class. So yes, how could Tammy make this all right? So the thing about compositions is you want a unified feeling. You want to keep the viewer's eyes engaged. What happens for me? And I'm just going to try to make this, very not art speak, but just like, really to what happens to our eyes as we're looking. So your eye wants to follow the outline. I mean, that's what it does. That's what that's how we're made, humans are, many of us, you notice. And so I'm sort of stuck looking at this one. My eye has a hard time getting down here.
Yeah.
Right? So how can we make our eyes take in the whole thing? more easily. What do you think you might do to have that happen? You were saying that you could crop this whole thing. That might be one thing. You could do that, but I still think there might be something else that we, could happen that would get us from here to here.
Put in a third shape.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I was
yeah.
thinking, like the connecting to the,
That's a good idea. You could add a third shape. And
Yeah,
what
and I-
about overlap?
or a repeat shape
Yeah.
of the star.
Yeah.
Could be. Yes, so
No.
maybe a third shape, and I would say to not neglect the idea of overlap. Overlap is a wonderful way to kind of draw to keep these from seeming so far distant from each other. So that's another thing that you could try. But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
and also I would say color too, because I feel like it's very weighted on the bottom.
yeah.
Like because the blue is way more saturated, and then there's a lot of lightness on top.
Right.
So I feel like it's not really balanced.
Yeah, exactly. And in a sense, you have like almost a split here, right through the
Like,
center.
and
of it.
literally like there are lines, because I was playing with the brayer and I was kind of like, all right, what do let me add more paint, but I didn't realize it was going to come out so starkly divided.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
No, it's fine. That's right. But what's wonderful about when it doesn't quite work is that's where the challenge comes in. It's really kind of fun and exciting to try to figure out how to make it work. I mean, that for me is like, I love those kinds of problems, because you're like, okay, let's see if I can really make this work. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tammy. All right, Katie. All right, let's see what
Yeah,
you did.
I just added some things here. I'm not thrilled with what I came up with. I was kind of just pulling it together kind of quickly, but I was, and I'll keep working on it. I was really, I loved the process that you showed of the laying down colors. And I think I really wanted to start with that.
Mhm.
I think I need to go a little bit slower, and maybe I felt a little rushed, like I had to come up with something.
Yeah.
I used this, I had an idea for another stencil that I really wanted to create, but I really realized I don't have time to do that. So I took this kind of stencil that I had of a flower, and I used it in some of the things a couple of them that I added to the stuff that I worked on during the week after the last class. So this pattern, like what I think of as like a sunflower, is what I did. If you wanted to look at some of the two that I added this morning.
Earlier. Oh, yes. Right.
Yeah, and you'll kind of see.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the one before that too, the other one, I think more oh yeah, no, I want to do one of boots, but the one.
Oh, this one.
one.
Yeah.
That one.
Sorry. Yeah.
I did that on cloth because we did this
Yes.
experiment last week on cloth.
Wonderful.
Oh,
And,
fun.
and it was using it really was from the whole thing of the Ukraine, and it's
Yeah.
the colors of,
Yeah.
the colors of the flag and the idea of the sunflower kind of representing Ukraine that I've seen before used. And so I love just the simplicity of this, and I
Mhm.
kind of felt like it expressed something. And I used different textures that I had played around with. And, it's just very simple. And I kind of like it. So I went with that flower image.
Yep.
And I wanted to use the colors. It just,
Yeah. No, I think that is very successful.
that's what's behind it, the feeling behind it, the emotion
Yes.
behind it, of feeling like wanting to find some way to put down on paper, on a canvas, my own experience of and the reality of it, and looking for hope.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, which is really, we want to try to focus, but it came out quite well, I think, on your fabric.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
really did.
I-
So that's
yeah.
That's a fun thing to know, that, you know, we can print on fabric and that we can make that into something else, you know, because of what fabric is able to do as opposed to paper. Yeah. So, you know, in this one, it feels, you know, like there is a lot going on here. You know,
There's a little too much, but I did use the matrices, some of the matrices that I made.
Yeah, I mean, actually, you've got it working. You do have it working. I feel like it does feel like a balanced piece quite nicely. But there is a lot going on, and you know, that's the kind of thing where you might say, wonderfully, you have so many interesting things to play with, but that it is a small scale, and even on the screen, my screen, it's you know, bigger than probably it is in real life. So
yeah, it's 12 by 12.
Oh, it is 12 by 12. Great. That's right. Yeah. Good. Well, you know, then it kind of does work. I take that back, but that's the thing, you know, just to keep that in mind, you know, less is more sometimes.
Yeah. That's I got to learn the less is more lesson.
Less is more.
Can we go
Right.
back to that for a split second? I have a question.
Wait, go ahead, Kate. Wait,
I got
Kate?
the questions there. I think people were asking me.
Go ahead, Kate. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I like this. And at first I thought, yeah, it's a little too busy, maybe. But then it's bigger than I maybe thought. But then I started thinking, oh, well, what would go? And I found I don't want to take anything off, which is sort of interesting.
Well,
so, you know,
exactly. Again,
it really is the balance.
You're right, Kate, and it is personal. It is personal too. So it could be somebody else prefers, you know, more minimal. Somebody else likes, you know, it's totally fine. Like I say, I think Katie did a really good job with the balance with so much. You really actually did do well. I think, you know, one of the things that I see is very helpful are these little repeated dots. See, because your eye picks up and picks up and picks up. So it is unified. You've got things that overlap. Again, it unifies. You know, you've got colors that are, you've got pretty much, you know, strongly blue and strongly kind of like a ochre color. And that also helps to unify it. So you haven't thrown all the different colors in. You've been a little bit restraining with that. So I think it does work. Yeah.
I have something that I want to add to the one
please. Sure.
That it's because it's on fabric and it's kind of rough, not this one, the one before. Rough fabric, that it has artisanal feeling that sort of makes me think of like in the country of Ukraine, you know, folk art, or it really, because of the subject matter that you chose, it really lends itself.
Good point. And you know, you could include embroidery, since it is, you know, if that's something that would be of interest to you. I could see, you know, embroidered something or other that would also reflect, you know, the feeling of this piece. So
how did you make the dots on the last one, the bright one?
I used I have a stencil that's kind of random dots like that.
Oh, you know what? You can get tape like that. Oh yeah, that's
yeah. But it's all, everything is pretty, you know, this is layered, and I really did have to work at bringing it together and developing it with the colors. And it was kind of a lot, but I wasn't going to add it, but you know, there's something about it that comes through for me.
Yeah, no, I think.
Oh, that gel sells 12 by 12. I thought they only sold 10 by 12.
This is a speedball gel that I bought not knowing, but I used the speedball block, the ink block ink.
Oh, okay.
So my colors were kind of limited, but I also used them on the cloth printing too, because that's also, I used the 12 by 12.
Great.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it seems like it really
I bought a 12 by 12 this morning, and it's Gel Press, I think, was the one that did it.
Okay. Gel Press is okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But every company has different sizes.
Yeah.
But
don't get the speedball, because you can't use the you can't use the acrylics on it. You got to use the speedball ink.
Right. So
And is
Katie,
there
again,
anything bigger than 12 by 12?
There's a
12
12 by 14.
that Jelly Plate makes.
A
Yeah.
really big one, but it's so cumbersome. It's heavy. It's hard. It would be really hard to use. But the 12 by 14 I have, and
Yeah.
that works well.
Let me just say too, in terms of the composition, when I see these on my screen, not big, you see, this is again, a great thing to do, step back from your work and you'll be able to see if your, how well your composition works. When you see it from this distance, it does have, it really does hold together, Katie. So that's really great. And, Tammy, this holds together better than it did, in, when we were looking at it up close, but you can still see how these are so far apart that one more thing might just bring it all together and make it work.
Of course. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Anybody else have anything they want to, do we have anything else sent email wise?
I sent an email.
Okay, great. Let's look.
But I really need your help. The plus sign's not showing up in the Padlet. So I can't.
Okay. Well, you know what? Hang on after a class just for a second.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
do that. These are Sarah's, so she had to leave. She's not here, but we can just take a quick look at what she's doing here. So she's using a little house image. So that's an interesting one, right? And again, as soon as we see recognizable images, it changes the game on how we experience looking at a piece, doesn't it? We are really storytellers, human beings. And we can concoct a narrative. We just can't help ourselves. So, of course, you look at houses, and maybe we think too about the war, and maybe there is a little bit of houses being, attacked here with, the black on it. And, this sort of looks almost like fire here too. Maybe I'm reading into it. I have no idea. And Sarah, if you're watching this later, forgive me for just riffing here on something that you can't really tell us about, but that's what I'm going to glean, from this. What do you guys think? Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. And so she said something interesting here with her composition. She's put, these houses way over to the edge. They're way over, and feels balanced because of the amount of negative space she's got going on over here, with, leaves us to look at the space and, possibly imagine, a sort of a scenario that's happening. Again, we don't know for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, it looks like there's still a lot of paint.
Yeah.
There, right? So I really like that effect because it looks speckled, and that totally lends itself to that.
Exactly. We
that
certainly,
kind of image.
How you look into clouds and you see things, right? Again,
Yeah.
we cannot help ourselves as humans, so we're going to look into some of these areas of smoky, paint here and see things. We'll see things, or we'll make up a story. That's what happens.
Yeah.
I love
It's
the
interesting
balance.
that she has, oops.
I'm sorry.
Kate, go ahead, and then Mary Ellen. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I really like the balance on this one. I think
Yeah.
that I would be tempted to add something to the other one. Probably not, would probably throw it off, but I love this. And there's some, I don't know if it's like the shadow house in the middle, and then the way the dark blotches tie into the blotches in the house. I don't know. I love this one. Like, this works for me.
Yeah.
I love the blotches too. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I find the image of the houses, whether it's related to the war or not, of course,
Yeah.
we're talking about it, but the whole people being misplaced in homes and homes being destroyed, and what that little rectangular represents
exactly. It's pretty
amidst-
powerful.
amidst these colors, and the space around it is really very simple and powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the power of these images that we're playing with here. It's so interesting how that can really happen. Okay, and let's see, Mary, we have one for you. You want to talk a little bit about this one?
That's interesting.
Well, I was printing on rice paper, and I had stencils, you know, I love buildings, and so I just had this building that I'd cut out from a magazine, and so there was a ghost that I just printed on top of, and I used two shapes, the that circular shape that really wasn't what it looks like there, but
Yeah. Well,
Looks
I
like the
think
sun casting
compositionally-
down the shadow.
it does. And I think, you know, in terms of composition, this one also feels right. It feels, you know, it has that feeling of like it doesn't need anything. It feels, you know, that's just for me. I think part of that is the overlap you've got on this, you know, on the ghost, you know, print of this thing here happening, and then the overlapping of this with this, and then almost the repetition of this shape up here. So anyway, that's I think that holds together quite nicely.
I think it looks like a saw blade.
Yeah, it does. Which could also give it a feeling of, you know,
Destruction.
Yeah.
or
You know, I find, I know this isn't unique, but I find that I'm often most interested in the ghosts.
Yes.
yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
people are, exactly.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, they're very evocative, and they sometimes the accidental stuff that happens in them is often really very beautiful. Great. All right, Mary, super. So, well, thank you for showing that one. And let's see, how are you doing? Okay, it's almost time for our class to be over here. Oh yeah, we already looked into those. Great. Well, guys, thank you. This is really exciting. I love that to see all the different ways people are doing. Maddie, did you have a question?
Can I just say, Mary, I sent you a direct message in the chat.
Oh,
I
okay.
just wanted her to know that. Okay.
All right, well, you all have each other's emails. It's on the top of that last email that I sent, but great. So I think for our class, for the homework, let's keep working with this one more week and see where we go with it. But, you know, come up with a couple of ideas and see what happens, you know, and practice this less is more kind of thing. And see too, you know, how, you know, to employ a little bit of restraint and see if, you know, what kind of effects you can get with that, just as something to practice and try. Because the more different things we try, the more different things we learn, then we can also find what works for us the best, what is you know, really working in terms of our own personal expression. So thank you. I will look forward to seeing you all next week. I'll send you the recording and the homework more detailed.
And can you stay on
Thank
and
you.
help Padlet?
Yes, I
Thank you.
can. Yeah.
Thanks so
Thank
much,
you.
everybody. Appreciate it.
Yeah, great work, everyone.
Great meeting the new people and good to see the
Yeah.
one.
And thanks, Adrian.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Okay, so Mary, I'm gonna share my screen with you and we'll take a look at Padlet, okay? Oh, Ellen, you might want to hear this too. Okay,
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get it.
Ellen, you will. Oh my God. All right, here we
So
go.
patient.
I'm on my iPad, but I'm going to do it on my phone. And so I'm going to, no, that's good. I'm going to the Padlet link that you sent me.
All right, so we're at the Painterly print. Okay, so now if you want to put a new one up, you go down here.
But I can't access that page. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
When I go to your,
I'm sorry, of course, because I didn't. Oh, no. You know what? Go to my email that I sent you.
I did, and
This
I
is
clicked.
morning, and you clicked on it.
I clicked on the Padlet link, and all I'm getting is close and publish, and no ad, no.
Oh, you don't see this?
No,
You don't see that.
no. And I can't close and I can't publish. I can't get out of it. And every time I go to your link, I get stuck on this other page.
That is very weird. All right, let
And
me
when
double
I
check
add, I can't, it's just stuck. I can't do anything.
All right, you know what I would suggest is to turn off your phone.
I just did that and I
And
turned
you
it
turn
back.
on again.
Same. Yeah, I can't. None of the buttons are responding.
Well, that is not your problem or mine. That is something to do with that company. I don't know what's going on there, Mary.
Because if
Um,
I don't take pictures with my iPad because they're not as good as on the iPhone.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. But let me just say while we're here, Ellen, do you see this little thing here? All right, so double click on it like it says to you. All right. And then do you see this? All right, this is the icon. This is the picture icon. So
Yeah, orange.
click on that,
Wait, oh,
Yeah,
this.
the orange thing.
right?
Yeah.
Click on that,
Yeah.
and
Oh, I
then
see.
you are going to search your own images. Let me see here. Oh no, that's weird. Hold on, let me just see. This one, you know, this is not what you want because it means you're going to take a photo. You could use this, but if you're on your phone, you can use this. Take a photo right there, then, and it'll go up immediately. You don't have to move it from your photo album to Padlet. But let me just see here. This is what you want. Okay, the very last one. Okay, so let's do that again. You click on this last guy here with the three little dots, and it takes you to here. Upload. You want to go to upload, and then it takes you to your picture, and then I put that on, and then I go open and publish. There it is. Okay, so if you do you keep your images, Ellen, on your computer or your phone?
Yeah, everything's on I don't have my computer with me.
Okay. So on your phone, what you would do is open Padlet, same thing, and click on, so on your phone, it's going to look a little different. On your phone, let me just find mine.
You have to go to an email though, right? It's an email.
Well, you have to get into, you're going to have to go to my email, click on the link to that Padlet page.
I can't find that now. I have a Zoom link.
Yeah, let's see, it was a couple days ago I sent it to you.
Oh, it was a couple days ago.
Yeah.
I have Zoom link.
No, but it was a couple days ago.
I think it was.
Art updates. Oh, maybe it's.
No.
No.
No, I sent it to this class, just the other day. Let me just see if I can.
Oh, wait. Oh, no, that's not it. No.
It's too strong.
So
this
it's not.
one?
No, that was a question I asked about the retarder.
Oh,
Art updates, the Zoom link, and the matrix.
All right, the name of it is Class Link and Padlet. Okay, use the Padlet that we used for the previous class. Click on that.
class recording, no.
No, I don't have it, Adria.
Okay, I'm going to send it to you
Oh,
again.
here's Padlet. Oh, that's old.
I'm going to send it to you. All right, one more time here. There we go. Okay, you're on there, Ellen. But I forwarded to you again. Okay, I'm going to forward to you the link right now.
Okay.
Okay, now you should get it.
So I go to my email, is that it?
Yeah, go to your email and see where it says Class Zoom link and Padlet. I just sent it to you.
You know what?
I'm-
Mine is not.
How do you
not
browse
loading.
your images? Because now I'm in,
I'm on their Wi-Fi and I'm not getting any emails.
You're not
I
getting
only
any
have
emails?
from yesterday, so,
Well, I just sent you a new one right now.
right, but it's not uploading. It's
Oh.
my phone is not uploading
Oh,
any
1 o'clock.
emails.
oh darn. Okay, well, that's, you need a link to it, that's all. And Mary,
Okay, all right.
well-
I'm sorry, Adrian.
we'll work on it. No worries. We'll do it the next time.
Yeah, mine is
Look,
spinning.
I still.
Adria, I'm in on the iPad, but I don't see that little thing on the bottom where it says to add.
Okay, so
And
the
when
iPad is gonna look different because what I'm showing you here is what I showed you there was
Okay.
on my computer. So the iPad and the phone look different.
So what I,
But 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 usually
subject, right?
yeah, but usually it's like a little tiny icon of a picture, you know, and that's what you want to click on. Try that.
Right, but the 4 things underneath, like the 2 green, the orange, and then the
Yeah.
fuchsia. When I click on the one to the left of the fuchsia, it doesn't allow me to browse my photo. Nothing happens.
Okay,
As
so then that's not the
published,
right one.
highlighted.
Then that's not the right one. That's not the right one.
I'm seeing, I'm on the page.
No,
Oh,
I mean, yeah,
right
but I
one,
know,
right.
but it may not be the right icon to
But
upload.
The other
I'm-
ones,
Yeah, you
Yeah,
don't see a
okay.
pink circle with a plus sign on it any place on that?
oh, and I've done this before, you know, and it's not there. Let me go to the bottom.
Yeah,
No,
it's on the bottom, maybe on the
oh
bottom.
boy.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Taking forever to get to the bottom. There's a lot of,
All right, well,
lot
the
of
other thing
prints
you
in
can
here.
check- Yeah, but no, but it shouldn't even be, no, it shouldn't be on the bottom of the images. It should just be on the bottom of the screen. It should be over the images, right? You know, it should be right there.
Oh,
Here,
It's
let me show you my,
I don't usually have this much trouble.
here, let me just show you my.
Okay,
screen.
it's not,
Can you see? Wait,
no, because it has 2 screens. It has 2 notes from Padlet up that I can't get rid of. Oh, wait, done. Okay, got rid of that one. And then I do an X there, it doesn't work. I do publish, it doesn't work.
Ellen, if you see my.
So I
my
see the
phone-
Painterly print.
Yeah, so see this circle with a plus in it? If I click on that, that's how I would upload
I
something.
don't see it. I know. It's just not showing up. I do, you know, because that's how I've done it before. It's not
Yeah.
showing.
All right,
And I
well, we'll
can't
work
get
on
out
it.
of stupid
We'll-
screen.
We'll work on it.
It's very
You need to
frustrating because
find-
this
you need to
happened
find
last
12
time.
year- You guys need to find teenagers to help you.
I know.
10-year-old. I'm kidding. But you know, those guys know, like, they're just digital natives. Okay, everybody, I have to go, but no worries. We'll do, you know, just email to me. It's not a big deal. All right.
Hey,
see you
thanks,
next
Adria.
time. Bye-bye.
It's a big for me because I want my pictures to be part of the class.
I
So
know.
hope I
Mary, yeah. I can't talk more now, but that's basically what you would do. You need to find on your Padlet how to upload it. I don't have a iPad. So
not work. It's not working
Google it
on
and see what,
phone.
Mary, try Googling it. And it will give you
I
directions.
did. I went in 3 different ways and I can't add anything. So anyway, all right. I don't want to take more of your time,
Yeah,
but
I
thank
don't
you for
know.